Good morning, children. Today we shall start a new chapter in supplementary reader, The Hag Driver. Why is the lawyer sent to New Mullion? What does he first think about the place? Who befriends him? Where does he take him? What does he say about Lutkins? We will read a very interesting chapter, children. The end of this chapter is very interesting. Let us start. After graduating with honors, I became a junior assistant clerk in a magnificent law firm. I was sent not to prepare legal briefs but to serve summons. What is a summon? It is a written notification where a person is called to appear in the court. So, what was this person appointed for? He was not appointed to prepare some legal documents, but he was appointed to take summons to people, deliver summons to people so that they can be notified that when they have to appear in the court. I was sent not to prepare legal briefs but to serve summons like a cheap private detective. I had to go to dirty and shadowy corners of the city to seek out my victims. Who are the victims he is referring to? The people who had to be told when they had to appear in the court. Some of the larger and more self-confident ones even beat me up. That means they can defeat him in doing this work. I hated this unpleasant work and the side of the city life it revealed to me. This person did not enjoy delivering or serving summons to people. He did not like this work at all, and he also disliked the reality of the city which he saw while he served summons to people. I hated this unpleasant work and the side of the city life it revealed to me. I even considered fleeing to my hometown where I could have been a real lawyer right away without going through this unpleasant training period. So, since this was his training period, he had to do whatever was instructed to him. But he did not like doing this work. He wanted to go to his hometown and practice law as actually the lawyers do. He did not want to do this menial work. So I rejoiced one day when they sent me out 40 miles in the country to a town called New Mullion to serve summons on a man called Oliver Lutkins. Now children, pay attention. The actual story begins now. It is very, very interesting. So this lawyer, the newly made lawyer, was told to go to a town called New Mullion to serve summon to a man who was named as Oliver Lutkins. We needed this man as a witness in a law case, and he had ignored all our letters. That means earlier also letters had been sent to this man to appear in the court, but he did not recognize the letter. Recognize means he did not pay attention to any of the letters. He did not do as directed, and that is why now this man was sent to New Mullions to serve summons to Oliver Lutkins. We needed this man as a witness in a law case, and he had ignored all our letters. When I got to New Mullion, my eager expectations of a sweet and simple country village were severely disappointed. Its streets were rivers of mud, with rows of wooden shops, either painted a sour brown or bare of any paint at all. The only agreeable sight which the place was the delivery man The only agreeable sight about the place was the delivery man at the station. He was about 40, red-faced, cheerful, and thick about the middle. Thick about the middle means he was fat around his waist. So, when this man reached New Mullion, he did not find the town very fascinating. He did not find any interesting thing all around him. Rather, he was disappointed when he saw things around. The streets were full of mud. The shops were wooden shops, either painted in brown color. Brown color is not a very attractive color. And some of the shops were not painted at all. The only fascinating thing, the only interesting thing which he saw there was the delivery man at the station. He was a man of 40 years of age, red-faced, cheerful, and thick around his waist. His working clothes were dirty and well worn, and he had a friendly manner. You felt at once that he liked people. So what kind of a man was he? He was a cheerful man, he was friendly, and any stranger who met him would feel that he was a man who liked meeting people. I told him to find a man named Oliver Lutkins. So when he reached the station, he met this delivery man and he told him that he was in search of a man named Oliver Lutkins. Lutkins? I saw him around here about an hour ago. Pay attention, children. Hard fellow to catch though. Hard fellow to catch though means this delivery man told this man who was there in search of Oliver Lutkins that it was not easy to catch hold of Lutkins. He was a hard man to catch. A hard man to catch means it was very difficult to catch hold of him. Hard fellow to catch though, always up to something or other. He is probably trying to start up a poker game in the back of Frid's shop. Poker game is a card game. So this delivery man told that Lutkins was trying to start up a card game, a poker game in the back of Frid's shop. I'll tell you, boy, is there any hurry about locating Lutkins? Now he is trying to find out, was this man in a hurry to find Lutkins and meet him? Yes, I want to catch the afternoon train back to the city. I was very important and secret about it. I'll tell you what. I've got a hack. Hack is a horse carriage. So this delivery man tells him that I tell you that I can help you out because I have a hack. I own a horse carriage. I'll get it out and can drive around together and find Lutkins. So now see how helpful he is trying to be. This delivery man is trying to be very helpful and he says that I have a hack, I will bring it out and I will go with you together in search of Lutkins. I know most of the places he hangs out. He hangs out means where he goes and where we can search him. He was so open and friendly that he wanted the business. Sorry, I think I've missed one line. Yes. He was so open and friendly that I glowed with the warmth of his affection. This man, this stranger who had been to New Mullion, he was greatly impressed by the friendliness and helpfulness of this delivery man, and he says that he was so open, he was so friendly that he was greatly attracted by the warmth of his affection. I knew, of course, that he wanted the business, but his kindness was real. It was very evident from his attitude that he wanted business, he wanted customers to sit on his hack so that he could earn some money also. But on the other hand, it was also very evident that he was a very kind man and he really wanted to help him. I was glad the fare money would go to this good fellow. I managed to bargain down to $2 an hour, and then he brought from his house nearby a sort of large black box on wheels. He remarked, "Well, young man, here is the carriage," and his wide smile made me into an old friend. So he behaved in a very friendly manner. He gave a smile when he brought his carriage and told him that, "Look, young man, here is my carriage." These villagers are so ready to help a stranger. Now, this man thinks that he was greatly impressed by the helpful nature, by the kindness which was shown by this hack owner, and he said to himself that these villagers are really very helpful to strangers. He had really made it his own task to find Oliver Lutkins for me. He is so impressed, this man is so impressed by the helpfulness of this man who owns this hack, that he says that he is helping him in such a way as if it was his personal work, it was his own task to search Oliver Lutkins. He said, "I don't want to interfere, young fellow, but my guess is that you want to collect some money from Lutkins." Now this delivery man is trying to inquire why this stranger is in search of Oliver Lutkins, and he says that, "I don't want to interfere in your personal matters, but I guess that you are searching Lutkins because you have to take some money back from him. He never pays anybody a cent." That means Lutkins had borrowed money from several people, and he did not return money to the owner of that amount. "He still owes me 50 cents on a poker game. I was fool enough to play with him." The owner of this hack says that, "I also had given him 50 cents to invest on a poker game, and still he has not returned that money to me. He is not really bad, but it's hard to make him part with his money." He says about Lutkins that Lutkins is not a bad person, but it is very hard to take money from him because he never gives the money back. If you try to collect from him in those fancy clothes, he'll be suspicious and get away from you. If you want, I'll go into Fritz's and ask for him, and you can keep out of sight behind me. So this owner of the hack, he suggests that if you will go to Lutkins in these fashionable clothes, in these fancy clothes, then he might suspect you why you have come. So you should not go in front of him. What I will do is, I will help you out. I will go to Fritz and I will try to find out whether he is there or not, and you should stay out of sight. You should not come in front of him. I loved him for this. Now this stranger was greatly impressed by his kindness. By myself, I might never have found Lutkins. He says that on my own, by myself means on my own, all alone, I would never have found Lutkins. With the hack driver's knowing help, I was sure of getting my man. He was sure that with the help of this hack driver, he is going to find Lutkins for sure. I took him into my confidence and told him that I wanted to serve the summons on Lutkin, that the man had refused to be a witness when his information would have really settled our case. So this stranger told now in reality to the hack driver why he had come to New Mullion, why he was searching Lutkins. He told the actual purpose of coming to this place and wanting to meet Lutkins. The driver listened earnestly. That means he listened to him seriously. At the end, He hit me on the shoulder and laughed. Well, we'll give Brother Lutkins a surprise. Now, this hack driver is giving assurance to this stranger that the stranger, who is a lawyer who has come to serve summons to Lutkins, the hack driver tells him that we will together catch hold of Lutkins and give him a surprise. Let's start, driver. Most folks around here call me Bill or Magnuson. The hack driver tells this lawyer that most folks means most people here call me Bill or Magnuson. My business is called William Magnuson Fancy Carting and Hacking. All right, Bill, shall we proceed to Fritz? Yes. Lutkins is just as likely to be there as anywhere. So this hack driver tells this lawyer that yes, we should surely go to Fritz because Lutkins is likely to be found there. Plays a lot of poker. He is good at deceiving people. Lutkins is good at deceiving people, fooling people, cheating people. Bill seemed to admire Lutkins' talent for dishonesty. Which talent he is trying to admire? That Lutkins is good at deceiving people. It seems that Bill was impressed by this quality of Lutkins, that he used to deceive people well. Bill seemed to admire Lutkins' talent for dishonesty. I felt that if he had been a policeman, he would have caught Lutkins respectfully and jailed him with regret. So, this lawyer was greatly impressed by the kind nature, by the helpful nature of this hack driver, and he says that had this hack driver been a policeman, he would have caught people respectfully, or we can be specific and say he would have caught Lutkins respectfully, and he would have put him in jail with regret. That means he must not have enjoyed or liked putting Lutkins behind bars. Bill led me into Fritz. Have you seen Oliver Lutkins around today? Friend of his looking for him, said Bill cheerily. Cheerily means happily. When he went to Fritz along with his lawyer, he asked there, have you people seen Lutkins? A friend of his is looking for him. Fritz looked at me, hiding behind Bill. He hesitated and then admitted, yes, he was here a little while ago. Guess he has gone to Gustav to get a shave. Now see, again a new information has been delivered about Lutkins, that he has gone to get a shave at the Gustav's. Well, if he comes in, tell him I am looking for him. We drove to Gustav's barber shop. Again, Bill went in first, and I lingered at the door. This lawyer, kept on standing at the door. He asked not only the Swede, but two customers if they had seen Lutkins. The Swede had not. He said angrily, I haven't seen him and don't care to. But if you find him, you can just collect that $35 he owes me. As we have seen earlier, we have read earlier that Lutkins had taken money from various people, but he had not returned the money that he had taken. Just collect that $35 he owes me. One of the customers thought he had seen Lutkins walking down Main Street, this side of the hotel. As we climbed back into the hack, Bill concluded that since Lutkins had exhausted his credit at Gustav's, he had probably gone to graze for a shave. Now, I'm reading this again. As we climbed back into the hack, till now, the hack driver and the lawyer, both of them were searching Lutkins here and there, but they were not successful till now. So again, they sat in the hack. Bill concluded that since Lutkin had exhausted his credit, that means all the money that he had was finished now, that is why he must have probably gone to the Gray's for a shave. At Gray's barber shop, we missed Lutkins by only 5 minutes. He had just left, probably for the pool room. At the pool room, it appeared that he had just bought a pack of cigarettes and gone out. So we pursued him, we chased him, we followed him, behind him, but never catching him. For an hour till it was past 1 o'clock. I was hungry. Now this lawyer was feeling hungry. But I had so enjoyed Bill's rough country opinions about his neighbors that I scarcely cared whether I found Lutkins or not. So this lawyer was perfectly enjoying the company of Bill. He was enjoying going into the countryside along with Bill, and he did not bother much now whether he found Lutkins or not. How about something to eat? I suggested. Let's go to a restaurant and I'll buy you lunch. Well, I ought to go home to the wife. I don't care much for these restaurants. Only 4 of them and they are all bad. Tell you what we'll do. The hack driver is telling all this. Tell you what we'll do. We'll get the wife to pack up a lunch for us. She won't charge you more than $50, and it would cost you more for a greasy meal in a restaurant. And we'll go up to Wade's Hill and enjoy the view while we eat. I know that Bill's helpfulness to the young fellow from the city was not entirely a matter of brotherly love. I was paying him for his time. In the end, I paid him for 6 hours, including the lunch hour, at what was then a very high price. But he was no more dishonest man. But he was no more dishonest than I. I charged myself to have his presence. I've read a wrong line. I charged the whole thing to the firm. But it would have been worth paying him myself to have his presence. His cheerful country wisdom was very refreshing to a country boy like myself, who was sick of the city. As we sat on the hilltop looking over the pastures and creek is a short patch of a river flowing. Looking over the pastures and creek which slipped among the trees, he talked of New Mullion and painted a picture in words of all the people in it. He noticed everything, but no matter how much he might laugh at people, he also understood and forgave their foolishness. He described the minister's wife who sang the loudest in church when she was most in debt. He commented on the boys who came back from college in fancy clothes. He told about the lawyer whose wife could never succeed in getting him to put on both a collar and a tie on the same day. He made them all live. On that day, I came to know New Mullion better than I did the city and to love it better. So this whole paragraph shows that this young lawyer completely enjoyed the company of Bill. Because of Bill, he came to know about the people of New Mullion. He came to know about this town. He came to know about every minute detail of this new place. Bill didn't know about colleges and cities, but he had traveled around a lot of the country and had had a lot of jobs. From his adventures, he had brought back a philosophy of simplicity and laughter. He strengthened me. We left that peaceful scene of meadows and woods and resumed our search of Oliver Lutkins. So, after their lunch break, after resting for some time, they are again back to work. Which work? To search Oliver Lutkins. We could not find him. At last, Bill cornered a friend of Lutkins. Cornered means met. At last, Bill cornered a friend of Lutkins and made him admit what he guessed. Oliver's gone out to his mother's farm, 3 miles north. Now, this friend of Lutkins told that Lutkins had gone to his mother's farm, which is 3 miles north. We drove out there laying plans. Laying plans means they were making plans that if they meet Lutkins in his mother's farm, then what they are going to do, how they are going to catch him. I know Oliver's mother. She is a terror. She is a terror. Bill sighed. Bill took a long, deep breath. I took a trunk out there for her once, and she almost took my skin off because I didn't treat it like a box of eggs. She is about 9 feet tall and 4 feet thick and quick as a cat, and she sure can talk. I'll bet Oliver I'll bet Oliver heard that somebody is chasing him, and he is gone on there to hide behind his mother's skirts. Well, we'll try her, but you would better let me do it, boy. So, this hack driver says he is describing his experiences with Oliver's mother, and he says that it is better that you don't try to find out, you don't try to inquire anything of her, let me do it. But you would better let me do it, boy. You may be great in literature and law, but you haven't had real training in swearing. We drove into a poor farmyard. We were faced by an enormous and cheerful old woman. My guide bravely went up to her. Who is the guide? Bill. My guide bravely went up to her and said, "Remember me? I am Bill Magnuson, the carter and hackman. I want to find your son, Oliver." "I don't know anything about Oliver, and I don't want to," she shouted. "Now look here. We have had just about enough nonsense. This young man represents the courts in the city, and we have a legal right to search all properties for this Oliver Lutkins." Bill made me sound very important, and the woman was impressed. She retired into the kitchen. She went into the kitchen, and we followed. She seized an iron from the old-fashioned stove and marched on us shouting. So what did she do? What did she bring from the kitchen? An iron rod which was fit in the old-fashioned stove. And she came towards these people shouting, "You search all you want to, if you don't mind getting burned first." So she threatened that I will burn you if you will stay here. If you want to get burnt, then you keep searching whosoever you want to search. She shouted and laughed at our frightened retreat. She was laughing as she saw these two people running in fright. "Let's get out of here. She'll murder us," Bill whispered. Outside, he said, "Did you see her smile? She was laughing at us." I agreed that it was pretty disrespectful treatment. We did, however, search the house. Since it was only 1 story high, Bill went round it, peering in all at all the windows. We examined the barn and the stable. We were reasonably certain that Lutkins was not there. After searching the house everywhere, after looking into every nook and corner of the house, they came to the conclusion that Bill was not there. We were reasonably certain that Lutkins was not there. It was nearly time for me to catch the afternoon train, and Bill drove me to the station. On the way to the city, I worried very little over my failure to find Lutkins. I was too busy thinking about Bill Magnuson. Really, I considered returning to New Mullion to practice law. So, this young lawyer, was not at all disappointed that he was a failure in searching Lutkins. Rather, he carried with him fond memories of Bill Magnuson, and he said to himself that whenever I will practice law in my life, I will settle in New Mullion. I considered returning to New Mullion to practice law. If I had found Bill so deep and richly human, might I not grow to love Fritz and Gustav and 100 other slow spoken, simple, wise neighbors? So he feels that if such human people, such good people are there in New Mullion, then he will also fall in love with people like Fritz and Gustav and other people who were soft spoken, who were simple and wise neighbors. I pictured an honest and happy life beyond the strict limits of universities and law firms. So, with him, he carried the fond memories of New Mullion, the good natured people, their simplicity, their kindness, and their honesty. I was excited. I had found a treasure. I had discovered a new way of life. But if I did not think much about Lutkins, the office did. Now suddenly he thinks that I may not think about Lutkins, but my office and my head, all people who are working there, they are surely thinking about Lutkins, how to catch hold of him, how to bring him to the court. I found them all upset. Next morning, the case was coming up in the court and they had to have Lutkins. So, everybody was